What if I told you that everything you think is real just isn't? In this explainer, we're diving into the scientific case that our reality, the very world you see around you, is nothing more than a helpful illusion. Let's get right into it.
So I want you to really honestly ask yourself this question. That world you're looking at right now, is that what's truly there? Or is it something else? Kind of like a simulation that's been designed not to show you the truth, but just to keep you alive. You know, our gut feeling, our common sense, tells us that our eyes are like a clean window, right? We're just looking out and seeing reality as it is. But cognitive scientist Donald Hoffman says that's dead wrong. He's got this radical idea that you're not looking through a window at all. You're actually looking through a virtual reality headset, one that evolution has been perfecting for millions of years.
Okay, so what is this headset? Exactly. Well, the best way to think about it is as a user interface. Yeah, just like the one on your computer or your phone. The whole purpose of this interface is absolutely key. Think about the icons on your desktop for a second. That little blue folder isn't the real file, right? It's just a simple picture that hides all the insane complexity of the code and the circuits, so you can just click on it and get stuff done. Hoffman's argument is that our senses do the exact same thing. They hide the mind-boggling complexity of what's really out there and just give us these simple, useful icons, like an apple or a tree, so we can survive.
So, why? Why would evolution go to all the trouble of building us this interface instead of just showing us the truth? Well, the answer comes from this really cool concept in evolutionary game theory. And honestly, it's the engine that makes this entire idea run. It's called the fitness beats truth theorem.
At its core, the theorem is pretty simple. It says that evolution isn't a search for truth, it's a game of survival. And in that game, the organisms that win aren't the ones that see reality most accurately. The winners are the ones that see just enough to make good decisions, to survive, and to have kids. Seeing the full, complicated truth just wastes time and energy. It's speed and efficiency that win the evolutionary race, not accuracy.
And this is a perfect, simple way to see it in action. You don't need to understand the complex geology of the cliff or the quantum state of every atom in it. All you need is a simple icon, the visual of a cliff's edge. That icon triggers a simple feeling, fear, which leads you to take a very useful action. You stop walking. Bam! You get the survival points, all without ever seeing one bit of the objective truth.
And you know, when scientists run the evolutionary simulations, the math is just brutal. Organisms that are programmed to prioritize fitness consistently wipe out the organisms that are programmed to see the truth. I mean, it's not even a contest. The truth seekers go extinct every single time. It turns out that seeing the world as it is, well, it's a luxury that survival just can't afford.
This all leads to a really profound and kind of weird question. If the world we're seeing is just an interface, then what in the world are the objects we see all around us?
This right here is the heart of it. That chair you might be sitting on, a stone on the beach, even the moon in the sky. According to this theory, they aren't fundamental objects that exist on their own. Nope. They are icons that your headset is creating for you, representing a useful little bundle of information. This is good for sitting. Don't try to walk through this. That's very far away.
Let's just take a simple rock. In our headset, we perceive it as hard and heavy and solid, and that's useful. That tells us we can't walk through it, we could maybe use it as a tool. But behind that simple rock icon, the objective reality is, well, something like a swirling hurricane of quantum fields and unbelievably complex physics. It's a reality that's just way too complicated and costly for us to process in our daily lives. So evolution gave us the simple, effective rock icon instead.
So the theory gives us a whole new vocabulary for talking about reality. It says the only things that are truly real are what it calls autonomous parts, or conscious agents, and we'll get to what those are in a sec. Everything else is just part of our interface. The objects we see, chairs, planets, even our own brains, are contextual parts. They're just icons that only exist when we look at them. And the laws of physics, well, those are just the systemic parts, the basic programming, the rules of our heads.
Okay, so if the physical world of objects and space is just an illusion, what's actually real? What's going on behind the headset? This is where it gets really mind-bending. The answer is reality isn't made of stuff. It's not a collection of dead matter floating in empty space. It's a social network. The universe is a vast, interconnected network made up entirely of consciousness. So, the fundamental building block of everything is something called a conscious agent.
Now, it's really important to know this doesn't mean a little person or a human-like mind. A conscious agent could be incredibly simple. The only thing that defines it is that it has three processes. It can perceive things, it can make a decision based on that perception, and it can act on that decision. It's a point of view that has experiences and makes choices.
And if you follow this logic, the implications are just staggering. In this model of the universe, there's no such thing as dead, unconscious matter. The chair you're sitting on, it's an icon, a placeholder for a massive society of simpler conscious agents. And space-time itself, it's not the stage where the universe happens. It's just the formatting of our headset's display. It's the data structure, not the reality itself.
To really wrap our heads around this whole thing, the theory uses this powerful ancient symbol, the Ouroboros. You know, the serpent that's eating its own tail. The Ouroboros is the perfect symbol for this idea, because it represents a system that's completely closed and self-referential. There is no outside. There's nothing beyond it. There's only consciousness interacting with other consciousness. The action of one agent simply becomes the perception of another agent, creating this one eternal, self-contained loop.
What this means is that cause and effect don't happen out there in some physical world. It's not about one billiard ball hitting another. Causality happens within this network of conscious agents. One agent acts, another agent perceives that action. That perception causes the second agent to make a decision, and then it acts. The serpent eats its tail, and the cosmic loop just continues forever.
So you can really think of this as a journey, a kind of four-step evolution of understanding. We all start out at step 1 as naive realists, just believing that the icons we see are the real world. Then, understanding evolution and fitness beats truth gets us to step 2. Then, when we look at the weirdness of quantum physics, which shows us all the cracks in our space-time interface, we get to step 3. And finally, when you put it all together, you arrive at step 4, conscious realism, the radical idea that it's just consciousness all the way down.
And that leaves us with this final, truly profound thought. If this theory is even close to correct, then we're not these small, separate beings lost in some vast, cold, uncaring cosmos. We are, in a very real and literal sense, the universe itself, experiencing itself through countless different points of view. It's a huge, challenging idea for sure, but it's one that completely changes our place in reality.